Hello everyone. In this section, we are going to cover how to write a basic MDX query. Usually writing the MDX query is different than normal SQL language, right? In this session, we only focus on how to start writing the simple MDX query, or you can say like my first MDX query. Okay, so to write the MDX query, first we need to connect to the analysis service. Okay, in my scenario, I use the analysis service localhost, and here I have the sample cube. So to open the MDX window, you need to right click on the cube, then you can go to the new query, and then you can the drop down you can select which query you want to query window you want to open, and then you can start writing your queries. In my scenario, I have four here: DMX and MDX and XMLA and DAX. So DMX is nothing but more or like where you can write the analysis service data management views. That is the purpose we use. And then MDX, we write our queries to fetch the reporting needs, and XMLA is more like where we use to process the cube, or all the DDL operations that we maintain using the XMLA script. And DAX is nothing but data analytics querying. So this is another language like MDX. Okay, so let's go into the MDX window. So then I click here MDX new query, and then it's open the new window. As soon as it's open the new window, by default it will connect to the one cube. So here you can see under my cube solution I have only one cube, that is by default it's open. But if you expand further in the drop down, you will see many, because these are like a prospectives. It's like a virtual views in the cube. Okay, for now we stick to the default cube adventure works, and then here you have a list of dimensions and measures. Okay, so dimensions are nothing but where the attributes will have the only the property values, whereas the measures will have the transaction level data. Okay, so it holds both the current information and historic information. Okay, now let's start with the basic writing the simple query. Okay, um, so to start with that, first we need to write the select, that is common. Even from also it's a common how you write in the SQL. And after that you need to mention your cube name here. So adventure works, that is the cube name I mentioned. And then after that you need to mention the access. Okay, so uh, by default we'll have a two axis in MDX. One is the columns is the one axis. Okay, other one is the row axis. Rows is the another axis. You can say columns, you can mention like columns or 0, or you can also mention axis 0. So you can mention three ways where it will fetch the data. Okay, similarly for rows you can mention 1. Okay, and then axis 1. Okay, so this is how you mention your axis. Okay, now for demo purpose, let's stick to the columns and rows. That will be more easy to explain. Okay, and then I'm good with preparing this, right? So now my basic syntax is completed. Now I need to bring measures and dimension attributes, right? Because I need to see the results, right? So now on columns you can mention anything. Okay, it's not only for like you need to use only measures or you need to use only dimensions. It's not like that. You can use anything, but the representation is this is the y-axis. Okay, so columns is like a more like y-axis. So whatever the results that you display here, it will show in this format. Let me show you. Okay, so now I drag only one measure. You can see here, what is the error? Oh, comma is the problem. So I remove the comma and then I execute it. You can see here, now I got only the one measure values. Okay, now if I want to display one of the dimension value here along with the measure, let's see what will happen. Okay, I take the country. Okay, so country, and let's see what will happen. See, it will throw the error because you cannot keep the measures and dimension in the same axis, right? Because that's how the cube will store. So the cube will store the data in the x-axis, and the measures will store. Measures will store in the y-axis, right? So now you cannot keep the measure and dimension attribute in the same axis. That's the reason we need to use the another axis called row axis. Okay, now you can see here what will happen. Okay, so now I execute this query. Oh, there is a comma issue again. Yeah, here you go. So you have your country information and respect to sales information retrieved. So this is how it will display the data where my columns measure value show under the columns, where the country information show as the under the rows. Now if you want to swap it, yes, you can swap it. There won't be any problem. Okay, you can write, but the representation of data in the results window, it will change. Okay, now you see the reseller sales amount is appearing like a row, and your country values are appearing like a columns. Okay, that is the only difference. Other than that, there is no difference. You can mention any order. You can write this query any order, and you can display data in either rows or columns, but you cannot display the measure and dimensions in the um, same axis, either rows or columns. You cannot display in same time. So that is the only restriction. So now instead of rows, I'll mention now one and see what will happen. Okay, so here I mention 0. Okay, so what happened? So comma issue again. Now then execute. See, same result. There is no change. And even I can write like access 0 and access 1. Okay, let's see what will happen. See, same. So this is how you can write your basic first query. Then in the next video, I will cover, how to write the where clause in the MDX. So with that, that's all for this video. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.